Accra. Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Citi News.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Citi Prime News. The news is live from our studio at Adabraka in Accra. My name is Zoe Abube Eduardo. Coming up, Tamale Teaching Hospital denies paying salaries to ghost employees after investigations from the OSP and the Controller and Accountant General's Department pointed in that direction.
We disagree with whatever information that is put out there, although we haven't had any formal communication from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. We only saw a document being circulated online.
Also coming up, Coalition of Democratic Accountability and Inclusive Governance calls for immediate halt of SNIT's ongoing sale of shares in 4 hotels to Agric Minister Brian Ichampong.
This is an issue that we have every right to demand that the transaction should be stopped and there should be an investigation as to how we got to this stage.
Still to come, banking consultant warns of dire consequences for banks in the country if the government's wave of uncontrolled borrowing is not checked.
Ever since we went to this DDEP, they've been crowding out the bank. They borrow as if it's nobody's business. They use the short term to finance the long term, as if nothing is going to happen. The way we are going, if we continue the trajectory that we are taking, the banks are going to be in trouble.
And later, one more person dies following the explosion at Egresia in Sekondi Takrade.
Yesterday around 11:30 in the morning, we also received the news of the demise of one Isaac Blankson, who is 55, who was even the first victim that we took to Kolebu for further treatment.
This bulletin is also live across our partner stations. In the Western region, we're on Premier FM 100.5 in Takrady and Beach 105.5 FM in Takrady. Bono region, Greener FM 95.9 in Sunyani. Ashanti region, Orange FM 107.9 in Kumasi. Volta region, Akbeni Radio 96.7 in Pando and Heritage FM 107.3 FM in Hohoi. In the northern region, we're on Dasuma 99.1 in Yendi, Upper East, Word FM 88.3 in Zwarungu, Upper West, West Link 88.1 FM in Laura, and in the northeast region, we're on Eagle FM 94.1 in Wali Wali. Across the globe, we are live on citinewsroom.com.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Many thanks for your time this afternoon. Now, one more person has died following last Saturday's fire outbreak at Idrisian near Sekondi in the western region after leaking premix fuel came into contact with fire from a nearby fish and smoke facility. 2 people died after the incident, while 16 others were receiving treatment at various health facilities. The third person, identified as Isaac Blankson, believed to be 55 years old, died while receiving treatment at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The assembly member for the Ingresia Mempasem, Gabriel Atomensa, also disclosed to Citi News that 5 persons have been discharged, with the rest still receiving treatment.
Yesterday around 11:30 in the morning, we also received the news of the demise of one Isaac Blankson, who is 55, who was even the first victim that we took to Kolebu for further treatment. So it has now brought the death toll to 3. And then currently, as I speak to you, we have 2 patients, 2 at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. They are also receiving treatment. Then the hospital have discharged 3 from Efiong Kwanta and then 2 from St. Benedict Hospital. So we also have 5 currently undergoing several treatment at Efiong Kwanta and then 1 at Benedict. All thanks go to the regional minister and his entourage, the premise director, national director of premise. They came to commensurate with the bereaved family yesterday, and they also promised that as early as possible they will make sure that access road is created through to the shore, where it will be very easier for the fisher folks to carry their drums of premise fuel to the sea for fishing.
Assembly member for Indresiam and Passem, Gabriel Ato Mensah. The Coalition for Democratic Accountability and Inclusive Governance has called for the immediate halt of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust's ongoing sale of shares in 4 hotels to Agric Minister Brian Echampong. Senate is in the final stages of offsetting 60% of its shares in Elmina Beach Resort, Royal Ridge Hotel, La Palm Royal Beach Resort and Labadi Beach Hotel to Rock City, which is owned by the Minister for Food and Agriculture. In an interview with the media, the co-chair for Citizens Movement Against Corruption and a member of the Coalition for Democratic Accountability and Inclusive Governance, Edem Senanu, explained that the success of the transaction will result in a conflict of interest, hence the need for Senate to reveal all transactional documents.
The Constitution says that the public officer ought not to put themselves in a position of potential conflict of interest, not just conflict of interest. In this case, we see actual conflict of interest. But the Constitution says don't put yourself in a position of potential. It means you should be alert to the likelihood of conflict of interest and prevent yourself to be in that situation. So it is not accurate to say that from the information available, nothing has been breached. I've also heard him talk about not being, he's a non-executive director or a non-functional director. That's neither here nor there. As far as the law is concerned, if you're a director and a beneficial owner, it means that any interests or premium that come from the business comes to you. So on the surface of the documentation available, he is the one who is benefiting from whatever Rock City does. So we cannot be convinced at this point unless there's additional information that provides us facts to the contrary. So please, let's not buy into that thing of nothing has been breached. 2 constitutional elements. There's no evidence to show that he had actually recorded or requested from the Speaker of Parliament permission to do things like this. And the Constitution says, do not place yourself in a position of potential conflict of interest. So I think that this is an issue that we have every right to demand that the transaction should be stopped and there should be an investigation as to how we got to this stage.
Edem Senanu is the co-chair for Citizens Movement Against Corruption and a member of the Coalition for Democratic Accountability and Inclusive Governance. The Tamale Teaching Hospital has rejected allegations of paying salaries to non-existent employees popularly known as ghost names. The Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Controller and Accountant General's Department, after an investigation into the payroll system in the Northern Region covering the Tamale Teaching Hospital and educational institutions under the Ghana Education Service, raised alarm over some illegalities, including unauthorized and inactive validation leading to payments to ghost names. Reacting to the report in a City News interview, the Public Relations Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, Aliu Zuberu, said the hospital has no knowledge of the said findings, but assured that the hospital would implement internal control measures to ensure transparency.
We disagree with whatever information that is put out there. Although we haven't had any formal communication from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, we only saw a document being circulated online. So even as we wait for any formal communication, we are taking it so serious with the issues that are raised. With regards to HR, the data on staff and all that, some of the issues they raise, we don't know the details yet, but we are hearing ghost names and then validation with inactive validated information and all that. So we need to run through our system to see, as they allege, to be sure that, one, they are not ghost names as it has been alleged, and to be sure that we are not also validating any employee who is not actually on our payroll or even at post. So internally, we are doing our own assessment of what the OSPS is putting out, and then we'll definitely respond to them appropriately.
Aliu Zubairi is the Public Relations Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Now, banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etiahene has expressed concern about the government's pace of unbridled borrowing, which he says is eroding and driving many banks into fiscal struggles and eventual bankruptcy. In his view, the government-backed domestic debt exchange program has opened up a reckless borrowing window that is being utilized irresponsibly and putting strain on local banks and the city. He warned that many banks will soon be in trouble if the government's behavior is not checked.
Ever since we went to this DDEP, they've been crowding out the bank. They borrow as if it's nobody's business. They use the short term to finance the long term, as if nothing is going to happen. The way we are going, if we continue the trajectory that we are taking, the banks are going to be in trouble, because the question is that government has taken you out of the money market, or market that you can get money. And meanwhile, he is not also paying his outstanding. I mean, if he was even borrowing to pay the energy sector debt, 1.6 billion, and paying the 35 billion, I don't think the banks will be in the position where they are. So it's a chicken and egg. And government should actually sit down. So that is why, Bernard, when I hear that they say the economy is growing, from the figures you're telling me, from what I'm also telling you, I don't see the growth anywhere, because it is the private sector that grows the economy.
Dr. Etiahene also said that Ghana got less than 14% of its target revenue from gold exports between 2014 and 2023. Ghana's cedi has been performing poorly in the last 20 years, leaving critics questioning the trend despite massive gold exports and remittances. Speaking to Citi News, Dr. Etiahene challenged handlers of the economy to better manage the country's resources to reap the most of its resources.
Between 2014 and 2023, we exported 43 billion worth of gold. You have a shock. Ghana only had a surrender value of 6.4 billion, less than 14%. So, like you're saying, you can export, but your contract that you have signed with people, you have actually sold your birthright. And if you sold your birthright, you're not going to get a benefit of the export. This is true. And what you're saying is true. We need to sit up as a country, have a discussions about where do we want to go. What can we do? But the way it is being managed, immediately you say it, you become somebody. Nowadays, who is this guy? But you see, some of us spend our time doing research on the country and certain areas which I believe Ghana can benefit if we sit up. Sri Lanka received this month, last month, $298 million worth of remittances. By my calculation, multiply by 12, the remittance alone would have been $3 billion. And if we get about $3 billion, is it not bigger than the IMF protracted loan, something that is putting a lot of us in poverty?
Dr. Richmond Etiahene is a banking consultant. The Association of Oil Marketing Companies has raised concerns over the ongoing strike by the Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union regarding the proposed driver and mate remuneration framework. According to the association, despite several attempts to address these concerns through dialogue and intervention by the Trades Union Congress, no resolution has been reached. The petroleum tanker drivers embarked on an indefinite sit-down strike yesterday, demanding improved conditions of service. The Association of Oil Marketing Companies, in a statement, underscored the critical role tanker drivers play in the petroleum supply chain, warning that unresolved remuneration issues could lead members who own about 50% of the country's tankers to exit the drivers' union. While urging all parties to engage constructively to resolve the matter amicably, the AOMC further requested a list of oil marketing companies defaulting on driver compensation so it could intervene to ensure compliance. We'll also stay with this issue a while longer because the Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union has been responding to the Association of Oil Marketing Companies, requesting for a list of OMCs allegedly defaulting on their compensation obligations. Now, the union says that the OMC's request is misplaced since they do not engage directly with them. In an interview with Citi News, the union's vice president, Sunday Alabi, emphasized that the approval of the proposed framework to address their conditions of service is needed to address all their concerns.
The OMCs that the release that they've made that they want a list of the OMCs that are not paying, that is not our issue. Our issue is that the framework should be approved. The transporters are not complaining about the framework. The OMCs have no business to stop the framework. The OMC, the transporters that pays the drivers, not the OMC that pays the drivers. They are part of the framework. Their rep is on the committee and he has signed for. So we are not reverting from the framework. We want the framework to be approved. We want the framework to be implemented, not the list of the OMCs that is owing them. If they need OMC that is owing them, then they should go to the transporters. We don't work with the OMCs, we work with the transporters.
Sunday Alabi is the Vice President of the Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union. Now, the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, Benjamin Boache, has expressed concern about the decline in the country's crude oil production. PIAC's 2023 annual report on the management and use of petroleum revenue revealed that the country's dwindling oil capacity, which decreased by 6.78% in 2023, contributing to an average annual decline of 9.2% over the past 4 years. Speaking in an interview with Citi News, Mr. Boache described as worrying the inability of the Jubilee oil field to produce 30,000 barrels a day as initially projected.
We're told somewhere last Jubilee was going to bring in additional 30,000 barrels a day, which would then have augmented our production and perhaps increased it. But we're also seeing that field is also declining in spite of the significant investment that Salo and the partners they've done to improve oil recovery. We're still seeing a decline, and that for me is shocking. How did we optimize that to ensure that the expected 30,000 barrels a day would actually be brought on stream? I think those are issues that we will have to get deeper into to ask relevant questions. Was it worth our investment? Getting way less than what we projected to produce from those fields. I think those are the issues that will have to come about. What it signals, though, is that we need to look at optimizing investment upstream.
Benjamin Boache is the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP. You're still listening to Citi Prime News. My name is Zoe Abube-Eduardo. Still to come, we'll take you to the Jachi community in the Ashanti region, where most households are still in darkness for almost a week following a rainstorm. We'll bring you the details shortly. Please stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Citi TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on channel 363. On GoTV, we're on channel 117, and on HD+, get us on channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search, but take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV. Citi TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and HD+ boxes. Citi TV, it's your world.
Are you a JHS student in Ghana? Are you a wordsmith with a passion for development? Do you have a way with words that captivates and inspires? If so, then join the Literacy Challenge 2024 now. The nationwide search for the most outstanding junior high school students in Ghana is on. Do you think that it could be you who goes home with 10,000 Ghana cedis and a glitzy trophy? Then, in not less than 600 words, write about the role of the youth in shaping the future of Ghana. What changes would you like to see, and how can young people contribute to making them happen? Script must be in your own handwriting. Script must be endorsed by parents. Add your full contact details. Deadline, Saturday the 13th of July 2024. Submit entries to the front desk of Citi TV and Citi FM, or mail them to P.O. Box GP 14123 Accra Central. For inquiries, call 0205 973 973. The Literacy Challenge 2024 is powered by Citi TV, supported by Citi FM, and is sponsored by Ghana National Gas Company, Alive Soap, and Fortune Spread.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You will come back. This is Citi Prime News. Let's take you to the Ashanti region now, where most areas in the Jachi community in the Busumkri district remain without electricity and water following last week's rainstorm, which injured several people and resulted in the death of a 16-year-old girl. The storm damaged a local transformer and uprooted electricity poles, leaving most households in darkness for nearly a week. The Assembly member for the Jachi East electoral area, Richard Bimpe, told Citi News the power outage is affecting both domestic and business activities in the area.
Nothing has changed. There is no light as I'm talking to you. My people are suffering, especially those that they are selling cold store, and there's no water for them to use. Most of the community use mechanic borehole. The mechanic borehole too, they normally use the electricity to pump the water. So there is no water in town, and I make all the necessary efforts to get the ECG to come and do it for us. Yesterday, I even called the PLO Asante Region PLO. And he told me that I should go to the district office, the crime office. So I went to the district office today. He told me that they are still on it, working on it. He's now writing memo to region for post.
You heard the Assembly member for the Jachi East electoral area, Richard Bimpe. To some politics now, the governing New Patriotic Party has called on the Electoral Commission to exercise restraint in its quest not to extend the ongoing limited voter registration exercise, which ends on Monday, May 27. The EC at a press conference yesterday said it is on the verge of achieving its target of registering 600,000 new voters in the 3-week exercise. So far, the Commission says over 500,000 persons have been registered and issued with voters' ID cards with barely a week to the end of the exercise. Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed, tells Citi News the EC must wait until the final day to decide whether or not to extend the exercise.
From our point of view, I think it's very early in the day for the Electoral Commission to conclude that they will not be doing an extension. We need to all wait to get to the end of the registration period. You know, Ghanaians as we are, many are waiting for the last days. So if during the last days we still don't have people who are coming out, then the statement that is made by them will be legitimate. But then we need to still give the registrants the opportunity to come out until the last days of the exercise. So for me, as a member of the New Patriotic Party and leadership, I believe that it's too early days for the Electoral Commission to determine whether they will extend or they will not extend.
Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Haruna Mohammed. The NDC, on the other hand, says it is closely monitoring the exercise to ensure the EC's target is met before deciding to call for an extension. Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC.
We, as a political party, is closely monitoring the registration exercise to be sure that the figures that we're expecting at the end of the registration it's within the reach, because the Electoral Commission expected to register over 623,000. That was their estimate. That's what they were, the projections they made. And then, so we're looking at the figures, and then vis-a-vis the applicants who are still at the various centers, that would give us an insight as to whether to seek for extension or to go with what the EC is saying. But for now, we are still monitoring the situation.
Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the National Democratic Congress. The coalition of aggrieved customers of Men's Gold has vowed to resist any attempt to auction the defunct gold dealership firm formerly owned by Nana Apia Mensah, popularly known as Namoan. This declaration comes in response to alleged advertisements announcing the intended auction, which have appeared in newspapers. The coalition, representing thousands of affected customers, argues that the proposed auction is premature and undermines the ongoing legal proceedings regarding the case. In a recent reaction, spokesperson of the coalition, Fred Forson, says the assets in question should remain intact until the court case is resolved to ensure that customers have the best chance of recouping their investments.
For 5 years, this gentleman has not been able to pay. So our hopes are on this asset. Even the gold that were frozen, that we were aware that the gold were frozen by the state. At the last sitting in court, it came to light that he managed to retrieve the gold even from the security agency. And that one, we are serving notice on this one. We shall do everything within our power to ensure that this auction will not see the light of day. Even if we will have to personally go to the Supreme Court, we shall do that. And so I'm calling on all customers across the country to be alert, because we shall do everything within our power to stop the sale of this property.
Fred Forsing is the spokesperson for the Coalition of Aggrieved Customers of Men's Gold. The Food and Drugs Authority, the FDA, is assuring the public of safety of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine in Ghana. This reassurance comes in response to the global withdrawal of the vaccine by the pharmaceutical giant due to a rare side effect. The company acknowledged the presence of an unknown adverse effect known as thrombosis. However, the FDA indicates that it has investigated reported adverse effects following immunization and found no cases of the mentioned ailments in Ghana. Here are excerpts of the statement.
As of the end of March 2024, 10,545,038 people in Ghana had received the AstraZeneca vaccine. The FDA investigated 4,149 reported adverse events following immunization, and thrombosis with TTS was not among them. Despite this, the FDA remains vigilant in monitoring the safety of all vaccines used in Ghana, including COVID-19 vaccines, through its Safety Monitoring Department and its Technical Advisory Committee, Safety of Vaccines and Biological Products. The FDA assures the public that it is dedicated to the continuous and proactive monitoring of all regulated products to ensure they remain safe, effective, and of high quality. Should any products present an unacceptable risk, the FDA will take swift regulatory action to safeguard public health.
You heard excerpts of a statement released by the Food and Drugs Authority assuring the public of the safety of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. Now, the Ghana Journalists Association has intensified calls for the arrest of attackers of ZAR multimedia reporter in the northern region, Bokungu Abubakar Ndeya. Abubakar was brutally assaulted by 4 alleged supporters of the governing New Patriotic Party while trying to record an altercation with the police. The Northern Regional Chairman of the GJA, Yakubu Abdul-Majid, in an interview with Citi News, says the GJA remains steadfast in protecting its members.
Just a few minutes ago, I was at the Metro Police Command, and we are following up the case. And actually, when we went there, we insist that the culprits must be arrested and brought to book. And the police commander, the Metro Police Commander, assured us that he will do everything under their power to ensure that those guys are arrested. And before I even left, they had discharged 3 officers to see whether they can effect the arrest today. I have not heard anything from them as we speak. And we are very committed for that in fighting against the media attacks in our region. And as a result of that, we have a lot of plans that we don't want to put on air. At the appropriate time, we will actually rule those things out. And everybody will get to know that we are not serious. We mean business.
Yakubu Abdul-Majid is the Northern Regional Chairman of the Ghana Journalists Association. Now, President Akufo-Addo has tasked the Public Services Commission to ensure that personnel of all public service organizations are rolled onto the Human Resources Management Information System for efficient management of the nation's payroll. Speaking at the 11th Annual Conference of Chairpersons of Governing Boards, Councils, Chief Directors and Chief Executives of the Ghana Public Services at Kwewun Kwetia Eastern Region, the President urged the regulator to initiate plans to mainstream digitalization and business processes in the public service.
The Public Services Commission, in conjunction with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the governing boards, should develop strategies to improve productivity levels in public service organizations so that pay for productivity becomes an established principle for effective salary administration. B, the Public Services Commission should formulate regulations and standards that would manage the human resource of the public services in more scientific ways for better output. C, the Public Services Commission should hasten its processes of amending the Act governing operations of the Commission. These revisions are intended to strengthen the Commission in delivering its core functions under the Constitution. And D, all public services organizations work with the Public Service Commission as their regulator in a collaborative, cooperative, and committed manner to establish standard practices across the entire public sector.
President Akufo-Addo ending Citi Prime News, which came to you live from our studio at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. Log on to our website, citinewsroom.com, for more news. My name is Zoe Abubeduado. Many thanks for listening.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, Citi 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at Citi 973.
Citi 97.3. More variety. The city is alive on 97.3. Anytime, any day, anywhere. The city is alive on 97.3 FM. This is Brunch in the City, your smooth companion at work.
Nikita, is it cold?